dangers it confronts. So in 2010, for the first time, the World Sparrow Day was organized, and since then, it is into existence. Since time immemorial, human civilizations have had a special bond with house sparrows. It is a day to raise awareness and protect the common house sparrows, which are not so commonly seen now due to the increasing noise pollution and other anthropogenic factors. Sparrows thus are on the verge of extinction. The day thus also aims to bring together people who share their love for sparrow and admire their beauty. So ladies and gentlemen, now let me introduce you all to our very learned, respected resource person, our guest speaker for today on the occasion of World Sparrow Day, Dr. Zehra, Assistant Professor, Department of Wildlife Sciences, Aligarh Muslim University. Ma'am, we welcome you.
Thank you, Kusum.
So I'll give a brief profile of the resource person. Dr. Nazneen has research topic on the study of large mammalian prey predators of Gir Lion Sanctuary. She has authored various reference books such as one entitled Large Mammalian Prey Predators in Gir, an edited reference volume, The Gir Leopard, and she is currently working as an assistant professor in the domain of biodiversity and environmental studies since September 2019. Prior to this, she has worked as a research associate in Department of Science and Technology, prestigious PERS 2 program. Today, she'll be delivering a lecture on the topic Avian conservation in India, which is a burning topic in the field of biodiversity conservation. So we welcome you, ma'am, and over to you to commence the lecture. Thank you. Welcome all.
Thank you, Kusum. I hope I am clearly audible to everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, good afternoon, everyone. As today we are meeting here on the occasion of World Sparrow Day 2022. We are celebrating this day with a sequence of lectures which are organized by in the form of Eco Awareness Week by the Eco Club and Cultural Education Center. And I'm very happy to be here today with you on this platform to at least make people sensitized about the birds conservation. The first World Sparrow Day was observed back in March 2010, as Kulsum added, and ever since it is celebrated annually. But behind this, the story is a conservationist named Muhammad Dilawar, who made efforts to raise awareness about the bird, founded the Nature Forever Society called NFS with the aim to save the sparrow as their population has been rapidly falling for 2 decades. This day aims to inform about the significance of a sparrow and other birds and raise awareness about all those common birds are affected by the environment and are on the verge of extinction. Therefore, we celebrate this day to educate people, to sensitize people and increase awareness about bird conservation. To begin with this lecture, first I want to let you know why we have chose birds. Birds are unique because of their availability everywhere without any condition, colorful plumage, ability to fly and intelligence. They are incredibly diverse and can vary significantly in size and shapes. They have likely fascinated us since we are also part of biodiversity. Birds are also valuable indicators for different kind of changes like climate change, seasonal changes, and changes in biodiversity. Although many gaps remain, we know more about wild birds than we do know about any other group of organisms, right? Because they are easy to observe, being relatively big and conspicuous. Most are active by day. They can be identified in the field from a distance, and although they are diverse, they are also well known and are found all over the world. And taken together, birds can provide a picture of the way that much biodiversity is distributed across the world and can serve as uniquely useful barometer for environmental changes. Even birds also perform various ecosystem services like controlling pests in agriculture fields and forestry, rodent control, pollination of plants, seed dispersal, and forest regeneration, even scavenging services too, and help to making an environment healthy and wealthy, along with socio-cultural and religious values. So for today's theme, or for today's occasion, which is a very special and announced internationally, we have one objective: is spread awareness to conserve avian diversity. If I introduce you with the status of avian diversity at national and international level, so according to ABBase, the World Bird Database, in India, the total checklist acknowledges inclusion of approximately 1,366 bird species, out of which 82 species are endemic to India. If seen taxonomically, it covers 23 orders, 107 families, and approximately 498 genera. Bird diversity is much greater than any other group of animals, either it is amphibians, reptiles, and mammals. The diversity is astounding, with birds existing almost everywhere in the world. Arguably, the most accurate and up-to-date resource is the Clement Checklist of Birds of the World, which is maintained by the Cornell Lab of Ornithology. The Clement Checklist is used by the American Birding Association and is used as the basis for eBird, which is far and away the best app for people like you and me to track our bird observation. The Clement Checklist has proposed the total number of birds, approximately over 10,000, which are listed on this database. But this number could change a bit later this year, since the checklist is updated annually. Even this Cornell lab, it also has launched one mobile app, as nowadays everyone is used to use these smart gadgets. This app facilitates us, from scientist to a teacher to a student or a lay person, to record birds quickly. It facilitates us with already presented data, where we just need to click a bird photo which we observe around, and then this app, Merlin app, will provide you a set of birds which are closely resembling to the bird which you have uploaded, and will produce also important or unique features. Then you have to match those features with your observation and your photo, and you will be easily able to identify your bird species. And this is the way where several hearts together can contribute to maintain a big database on avian diversity. As we have diversity of birds at national and international level. But definitely there are certain birds which are threatened by the anthropogenic activities of mankind. So IUCN Red List of Endangered Species lists approximately 182 species of Indian birds in the categories of critically endangered, vulnerable, and near threatened. These species are threatened with global extinction, and trade in these species is internationally banned. Many of these species are endemic to Indian subcontinent, which are special relevance for conservation of birds in India. Of these birds, 12 to 13 species of critically endangered birds I have presented on the canvas, which are tagged critically endangered by the IUCN. The list of endangered birds includes Great Indian Bustard, Siberian crane, sociable lapwing, Himalayan quail, white-bellied heron, lesser florican, Jadon cursor, spoon-billed sandpiper, and 3 species of vultures from white-backed vulture, slender-billed vulture, and red-headed vulture, and lastly, the forest owlet. Carefully see these birds. If wherever you are sighting, then you should be enough sensitized that these species need special concern of conservation. As I have talked about the IUCN Red List, I'll brief you about this Red List categories. IUCN Red List of Threatened Species is the world's most comprehensive information source on the extinction risk of animals, fungi, and plants. Assessors place the species into one of the IUCN Red List categories based on a series of assessment criteria. For each species, the IUCN Red List provides information about its range, population size, habitat, and ecology. Also use trade, theft, and conservation actions, where critically endangered, and vulnerable together have merged to threatened categories. So, if any species of birds is facing a risk of extinction in the form of extremely very high, and high risk, will be accommodated one of these 3 categories which are presented by IUCN Red Data List. Now I'll come back to those critically endangered species and will briefly discuss these species with the concern of conservation. Siberian crane, many of us are listening about this bird species since long. This is the stunning Siberian white cranes, which is a migratory bird and visit India during the winter season. This species is one of the most endangered species of birds in the world. In the last few years, population of this species has decreased slightly and fall under the threat of extinction. The world population was estimated in 2010 at about more than 3,000 birds, mostly belonging to the eastern population, with about 95% of them wintering in the Poyang Lake Basin, China, which is the habitat that may be altered by the Three Gorge Dam. The Siberian crane is one of these species to which the agreement on the conservation of African Eurasian migratory water birds, AEWA applies and is subject of the Memorandum of Understanding concerning conservation measures for the Siberian crane concluded under the Bonn Convention. Himalayan quail, which is the bird of the zone, which is known as paradise of birds, Himalayan belt foothills. The amazing and beautiful Himalayan quail belongs to the pheasant family and located only at western Himalayas of Uttarakhand and northwest region of India. Himalayan quail is one of very critically endangered species of Indian birds, but destruction of habitat put it on the verge of extinction. The bull-dove quail is medium-sized and flies to the close area only. The last variable record was done in 1876 near the hill station of Mussoorie. Great white-bellied heron, Ardea insignis. The tall, dark and grey heron is large species with longest neck and no black stripes on the neck. Great white-bellied heron is a large heron species living in the foothills of the eastern Himalayas in northeast India and Bhutan, northern Myanmar. It inhabits undisturbed rivers and wetlands. It has been listed critically endangered by the IUCN Red List since 2007. Because the global population is estimated at less than 300 mature individuals and threatened by habitat loss and human disturbance. So disappearance of wetlands, poaching and habitat destruction are the major concern were noticed for heron. In India, the white-bellied heron is protected under Schedule 1 of Wildlife Protection Act 1972. Bengal florican, Hoveropsis bengalensis. It is the rare species of bustard family and native to Indian subcontinent only. It is one of the most threatened species and almost extinct at other places of world. Less than 1,000 only young Bengal floricans are distributed in the Indian subcontinent. It is the world's rarest bustard, but poaching and land conversion for agriculture purpose took its habitat and tagged it as an endangered species. Sociable lapwing, again member of critically endangered category. It is a migratory bird from open grasslands. The medium-sized lapwing is very attractive with longish black legs, dark belly and a short black bill. Habitation is the main reason for this species to put in the list of endangered birds. In 2004, BirdLife International categorized this bird as a critically endangered due to a very rapid population decline for poorly understood reasons. The main decline took place between 1960s to 1987 when the known population was become half almost. It is some 20 to 25% of the 1930s population levels. The current population was estimated to be between 600 and 1800 mature birds in 2006. Additionally, in October 2007, a super flock of approximately 3,200 sociable lapwings were discovered in Turkey.
Good morning, ma'am.
Very good morning. Then spoon-billed sandpiper.
What is?
Yes?
Ma'am, what is it about?
You can raise your questions at the end. I think so. Also, is there any instructions for the audience?
No, ma'am.
Put questions at the end, okay?
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Good.
Spoon-billed sandpiper. It is a small wadder which breeds in northeastern Russia and winters in Southeast Asia. This species is highly threatened, and it is said that since 1970s, the breeding population has decreased significantly. By 2000, the estimated breeding population of this species was estimated to be between 300 to 500 mature individuals. It is the world's most threatened bird species and fall in the category of this critically endangered in India too. Extremely small population, habitat loss and loss of breeding grounds takes the spoon-billed sandpiper chicks on the verge of extinction. Learning cursor, it's a nocturnal bird and is most threatened and endemic birds of India, especially in the Andhra Pradesh. It is listed as critically endangered, and even it was about to be declared as extinct, but again some individuals were appeared, and the population sounds to be reviving. This bird usually found in Godavari River Valley, Sri Lanka, and then in the Eastern Ghats forest range, and population estimated for the bird range from between 50 to approximately 200. Recent studies have made use of techniques like camera trapping and carefully placed strips of fine sand to record footprints from which estimates of population density are made. Everyone is knowing to this bird, Great Indian Bustard. Ardiotis nigrisis, a large bird with a horizontal body and long bare legs, giving it an ostrich-like appearance. This bird is among the heaviest of the flying birds, once common on the dry plains of the Indian subcontinent. As few as 150 individuals were estimated to survive in 2018. And this species is critically endangered because of hunting and loss of its habitat, which consists of a large expansion of dry grassland and scrub. These birds are often found associated in the same habitat as blackbird. The largest land bird habitat in the scrub, tall grass, semi-arid grassland and semi-desert regions of Rajasthan are the key habitats of this bird. But due to the hunting and habitat loss, we are about to lose this species from Indian subcontinent. There are many efforts which have been taken at national and state levels to protect this species from the verge of extinction. There is a wildlife sanctuary called Great Indian Bustard Sanctuary at Sholapur, Maharashtra, which is taking special care to protect this species. In 2011, BirdLife International uplisted this species from endangered to critically endangered just by noticing falling down its population. The rapid destruction of the population of India's bustard, their endangered status and decline of grasslands led the Ministry of Environment and Forest to prepare species recovery program in 2012 for 3 species of bustard, the Great Indian Bustard, Bengal Florican and Lesser Florican. These programs remain to be finalized and executed by the state wildlife departments. Now, the state of Rajasthan have initiated Project Great Indian Bustard on World Environment Day in 2013. Vultures. We all are knowing that vulture population is declining swiftly. Red-headed vulture is also known as Indian black vulture, or this is a species of old world vulture which is found in the Indian subcontinent, but due to the widespread use of the diclofenac, a non-steroid anti-inflammatory drug, diclofenac in veterinary medicine in India has caused its population to collapse in recent years. In vultures, there are many other species too which are facing the same risk of extinction, consist slender-billed vulture, white-rumped vulture, and say white-backed vulture. And a few more species of vultures are recorded over there too, which have been accommodated in the critically endangered category of the IUCN. So vulture species, have small distant populations in some parts of Southeast Asia. The red-headed vulture population has essentially halved every over year since the late 1990s, and what once was a plentiful species numbering in the hundreds of thousands has come dangerously close to extinction in less than 2 decades. Since 2010, population of white-rumped vulture and red-headed vulture have declined, while the slender-billed vulture has been reported declining since 2013. Forest owlet, Athene bleveti, is the highly endangered species of the typical owls family and endemic to forests of central India. Small forest owlets was considered extinct, but later on its population was noticed to be reviving by sightings of some individuals, by some people. Melghat Tiger Reserve, Tadoba Forest Range and forest areas of MP and Chhattisgarh are best placed to found this small jungle owl. Forest owlet is the state bird of Maharashtra. The IUCN has listed in the category of endangered in 2018 as the population is estimated as less than 1,000 mature individuals. It is threatened for most by deforestation. The forest owlet is listed in CITES Appendix 1-2. Now till yet we have discussed few of critically endangered in the set of rules and strictness. There is a network of 987 protected areas across India, and of that, approximately over 500 sites are declared as important bird areas and biodiversity areas. which are taking care to protect bird species in situ conditions. When talk about ex situ strategy, it is a method of conserving all the living species in the artful habitats that reflect their natural living habitats. This conservation strategy includes botanical gardens, aquarium, gardens, DNA bank, zoos, cryopreservation, etc. So these tourist strategies are helping a lot in the conservation of avian diversity. Except that two strategies, there are many agencies from government to non-government are working for the conservation of avian diversity. BirdLife International is a global partnership of non-governmental organizations that strives to conserve birds and their habitats. It prioritizes the area conservation and work to prevent extinction of bird species by identifying and safeguarding important sites for birds, maintaining and restoring key bird species, bird habitat, and empowering conservationists worldwide. WWF, World Wildlife Fund, works with multilateral and bilateral agencies to promote sustainable development. In nearly 100 countries, its aim is to protect natural ecosystems and wild populations, to minimize pollution, and to promote efficient, sustainable use of natural resources. The WWF focuses its effort on multiple levels, starting with specific wildlife habitat and local communities, and expanding upward to governments and global network of non-government organizations. Bombay Natural History Society is one of the largest non-governmental organizations in India, which is engaged in conservation and biodiversity research. Asian Water Bird Census, which is being organized at national level, is an annual exercise which is being undertaken in India by Bombay Natural History Society in association with Wetlands International, in which enthusiastic bird watchers, students, whosoever is bird lover participate in the count the bird by observing them near their respective breeding grounds. The Royal Society for the Protection of Birds. Aims of this society is straightforward: to end the mindless destruction of birds, to promote the protection of birds, and to discourage people from wearing the feathers of birds. Today, RSPB protects and restores habitats for birds and other wildlife, conducts recovery projects, research problems facing bird population, and manage 200 nature reserves. Each year, the organization hosts its Big Garden Bird Watch, a way for members to participate in a nationwide bird count. When come to institutions, we have Wildlife Institute of India and Department of Wildlife Sciences, Aligarh Muslim University. These two institutions are involved in conservation of avian diversity as well as biodiversity to a great extent. Several projects, particularly to specific species or at the biodiversity levels, are being conducted, and even many projects have been completed too. At the government sector, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change is taking great efforts to protect avian diversity. Even recently, the focus of MOFCC has shifted towards the avian diversity by observing speedily declining populations of many important species from Indian subcontinent. So India's National Wildlife Action Plan for the period of from 2017 to 2031 is already involved. It is going on. India's National Action Plan for Conservation of Migratory Birds and their habitats along the Central Asian flyways. This is also going on. And instead of this, there are one more project from the Ministry of Environment, which is about to be started, or say the proposal was presented in the 13th COP of Migratory Birds in Gandhinagar, Gujarat. The study titled State of India's Birds 2020 states raptors, migratory seabirds and habitat specialist birds were most affected in past decade. A first of its kind report on Indian birds claims that over 100 species of birds exhibit a decline in the long term and short term, rising their threats of extinction. The research put together by over 10 institutions and numerous citizen scientists.
Excuse me, ma'am.
This is the one of the most important efforts towards the avian diversity conservation. As there is, time limit for this lecture, to the hero of today, house sparrow, Passer domesticus. As the slide is showing about its morphology, its height and length. This is the state bird of Delhi and was declared in 2012. When talk about its morphology or say ecology and biology, it's a social but not territorial. It's omnivorous. It can feed upon different food items as per seasons. Like in monsoon, they feed upon insects. In onwards winters, they feed upon plant materials, plant fragments. House sparrows like areas that have been modified by humans, including farm, residential and urban areas. And even there is a huge difference between appearance of male and female sparrows. So it can be easily identified by dark plumage of male bird and there is light brown plumage with the absence of tip in the female individual. There are about 26 species of sparrows worldwide, but 5 of them having distribution in India, from Passer domesticus, hispaniolensis, Passer pyronotus, Passer mountanus and Passer rutilans. Male sparrows construct nests to attract their females counterparts, and they are monogamous by reproduction. Nests are built from dried vegetation, feathers, strings and paper. But there are many research on the nest material which birds are using to make their nest. Both male and females perform parental care for the young ones, and behavior aggressively protect a small territory just around their nesting site, and it is believed to be strictly a protection of the nest site and not of any feeding areas. This species facing predation risk from the birds of prey, where vulture, eagles and dogs, cats, raccoon and snakes. It is also playing an important role at this ecosystem level, serve as an important prey base, impact population of native birds, impact on plant communities too. From the economic importance, it is well suited for studies of general biological problems such as the way animal evolve and pest control. Here we have the theme of 2022 Love Sparrow, And this logo, this is the contribution of one of my students, Mr. Shehbaz. He completed Masters in Wildlife Sciences. So this year, we are running a movement towards sparrow conservation and to save sparrows. During this movement, for Zoom, I'm sharing one Excel data sheet link for the audience.
Sure.
Where they will use that link to report bird species, whatever bird species they are observing around. That is the shared link or Excel sheet, and certain categories or instructions are already mentioned in the